Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline. Welcome to Midnight Mandela. Well, it's another speedy week that flew by in about 2 days. Hope you guys are all doing well. I don't know, just time keeps speeding up. It's ridiculous. It's such a challenge to keep up with it. It's been a weird day. I don't even know how to describe it, but just thought I had it together, absolutely did not have it together. Thought I was like really smart, screwed up all day. So it's been one of those days. So I did not get together fast enough to actually catch up, but I did check a lot of the messages. I still have a few days behind. Somehow there wasn't enough time in the day to get through those, even though there weren't that many, and I didn't have much time to look for stuff. But you guys found some stuff, and I stumbled onto some stuff, so I'm sure there's a lot. I actually haven't been looking very hard lately. You don't really have to. Just checking through everything. That's funny, Austin, you talking about licorice root. I had tried some of that powder the other day, and I don't know if I got really moody and stuff, and I'm not sure if it was the liquor. I'm just like the smallest amount, so I'm like, I don't know if we had a weird timeline shift or it was the licorice root. So now I'm feeling very hesitant to try it again. I was really just trying to work on some other kinds of resistance starches and stuff for colon health, because I've actually been consuming what is that stuff called? Lactose, and that stuff works really well for me. There is a theory currently that lactose, that we may retain some lactose digestion to encourage us to eat it, so that some of it would make its way down to the colon and feed the lactobacillus, which do many good things for the gut. And if you notice, the colon is so much fatter than it used to be. It used to be more like the smaller intestines, but now it's like this giant. So I'm just thinking maybe we're turning into kind of more of like a fermentation creature. Like we can eat regular food and then the rest goes to fermenting, and then we can digest like all of it that way. Like we're like half carnivore and half cow. Because there never used to be all this talk about fermenting and stuff. But, the colon didn't look like that. So, anyway, I tried the licorice root for that. But, I don't know, man. I'm afraid to try it again now. I was actually shocked to have that much response. So, again, I'm not even sure if it was that or not. Yeah, for you, that giant appendix is only a few months old, but I've had it for a while. Okay, let's see. That thumbnail is this thing. Have you ever heard of the Petrolona skull? That's the Petrolona skull. So before you totally freak out, this knob thing here, like the horn, is supposed to be a stalagmite, I think, or a stalactite on it's not in the bone, okay? But I just thought it was very interesting that there just happened to be like a stalactite. I'm not, this thing is stuck on the wall. I think it's if it's sticking up, it's a stalagmite, but there just happens to be one right in the middle of the forehead, but nowhere else. And how come there's a stalagmite there, but not at the bottom of the teeth? And I don't know. The whole thing is a little suspicious. So this thing was found in 1960 or earlier. Let's see. It was found by a villager, Christos Sarianides, in 1960, sticking to the cave wall. And it was stuck using sinter. And I looked up sinter, and they're basically saying it's like a somewhat melted but not totally melted like material. And then it didn't say what it was. The cat's over here. What do you want, Mal? You want to come up here? Oh, you want to be in the show? Good kitty. So, there's been all this controversy about this thing. Now, I am quite positive I've never seen this before in my life. Kitty doesn't like it when I'm talking. She'll usually stay up here for a while and get petted. Oh, yeah, and it's so tidy. Let's see, is there a way for me to... Oh, there. Okay, here we go. It's totally weird looking. Supposedly it was stuck on the wall, like by man or whatever. The lower jaw is missing. Oh, it looks creepy as hell, but this is supposed to be some kind of calcite formation. Like it was been on the wall so long that calcite grew on it. But why did calcite grow on it so evenly and then just one very weird horn thing? I don't know. It just... So this is like supposedly it after the calcite was removed. What even language is this? Kato, why are you meowing at me? Oh, she wants out again. Spoiled cat. I just let you in. Out you go. Excuse me. Spoiled cats. Alright, so there's only 2 images. Encrusted by brown calcite soon after the death of the individual. And that was like, what? 700,000 years was the original estimate. There's been other estimates, but I'm a little confused, like soon after the death. What do you mean, how soon? Because there's not that much calcite on there. So if the whole thing got encrusted soon after, then shouldn't it have built up more? Or it just happened to encrust in calcite and then like stop right when it started to look cool and then wait there for hundreds of thousands of years until we showed up? Then I don't know. I mean, if there wasn't the Mandela, I would say they were lying, but... okay, then, okay. Other people dated it to 240,000 to 160,000 years old. I don't trust any of this because, you know, today they can say for sure it's X amount, and then tomorrow it'll be, well, actually, it's been known for 30 years that that's a myth. So, kind of ignoring it now. That's the supposed truth for this 10 seconds of time. 1992, and blah, blah. Tavern called the Mausoleum, where the skull was allegedly found. The minimum age refers to brown calcite layer, which covered and cemented the hominin skull to the wall. Okay. So they said it was cemented to the wall with sinter. Now they're saying it was the brown calcite, but I don't get how, if you have the skull, something had to stick it to the wall at first, and then the brown calcite could get on it. Calcite is not sticky, it's a rock, and it is deposited molecule by molecule, so there's no point where the calcite sticky. It's either a tiny amount in water flowing, or it's a rock. You don't get like an in-between sticky phase. So even this wiki doesn't make a ton of sense. Who found this one? Is Jackie again? Jackie found this one. There's a bunch of Jackies on today's. All right, so apparently there's always been this huge controversy about this skull. That's weird, because I remember reading... I don't know if I'm totally losing it, but I read something earlier that there was... Okay, they were calling it the Petroloniensis for a while, but then other people were calling it Homo erectus and Homo heidelbergensis, which I swear wasn't around in the 60s. That is like a newer creation or whatever version of humanity or homo whatever's that I think has gone backward in time if they're saying it's from back then. Most academics are classifying it now as Homo erectus. I mean, you can't figure out if it's Neanderthal or erectus. You got the skull. You would think that the skull would be enough. Doesn't Neanderthals have like this big thing in front of their head then? You can't tell. I don't know. This thing is like a really short wiki too for such a bizarre looking thing. So I feel like that this is fresh off the Mandela presses. Then they're talking about this hominid called Petrolona hominid, which I have never heard of before. The only known hominid fossil in Greece that may be relevant is the Petrolona hominid, found in 1960 in a deep cavern in Chalkidiki. Controversy surrounds the interpretation of this cranium and has been verified classes Homo erectus, Neanderthal, or blah blah. So the consensus is it's a archaic hominid distinguished from Homo erectus, and whatever the classification may be, the cranium is provisionally circa 200 to 400,000 years old. Thus possible that Petrolona hominin is a representative of the lineages responsible for the Thessalian lower. Oh, anyway, whatever. Have you guys ever heard of this Petrolonia hominid? I should have learned about this when I was in school because I took a class on this specific topic in college. It was a high-end college. We had one of the top top researchers in the world at our school, and you can bet that we did not he was not easy on us. Let's just say we had to memorize the entire family tree of every hominid that they had ever heard of, and this was not on there, nor was this. So crazy. I don't know. It does not look like Neanderthal to me, unless Neanderthal doesn't have the big lumpy head anymore. Let me see what that looks like now. Neanderthal skull. Used to be Neanderthal, I swear to God, and then at some point everybody was saying it's Neanderthal. Yeah, I feel like the brow ridges have really lessened quite a bit on some of these. There's a little bit of it still going on, but it is not as much. So does it look like this? Well, maybe. That one's got like, it looks like it has sunglasses on, the eye shape. I guess some of these kind of look like that. Maybe that one. Is that even a real one? Huh. That one seems like it has a wider head, too. Of course, there's no lower jaw, so that also affects the look. But huh. Anyway, I never heard of it, so good find. Alien introduction into history. Other than the horn, it does look human. You know, it's just interesting to me that this image is head on with like a very overexposed light. Could we not get a better image of it with decent lighting so that you could see the detail up here? It's very convenient that you can't see crap about the detail up here. And then this one is a much better image, but it's covered in calcite. I mean, how did you get a better image inside a cave covered in calcite? It's not like they usually have really good lighting set up in an old stinky cave. And if this was in situ, wait, how can they even have one of in situ covered by stalagmite? Let's see, found by 1960 Okay, I guess they could have. I guess they could have taken some photos before they removed it, but I mean that's a pretty good image for a 1960 in an old cave. But of course, now we still don't know crap because it's all covered in calcite. It's very convenient for constant changes to be hidden. Like the inside could all be changing around, but they'll just leave the layer of calcite the same. Yeah, I don't know that it just doesn't look right. Okay, so if the skull is pointing like this, then how come you have a stalagmite coming out like that? I mean, shouldn't it be coming up straight up into the sky? I mean, like was it like this and then it fell forward? Shouldn't it have then fallen on the ground? I mean, like this doesn't make any sense unless they're lying about this in situ and it's actually just a recreation, which is in this timeline I would be shocked because apparently they just lie about everything. But yeah, I just don't get how that you have a sideways stalagmite like that and just the one. And all the rest got evenly covered with calcite. Like actually the more I think about it, there's even calcite in there. Closed up the holes. Like so what it drips down and then would create the stalagmite and then like flow around, but you'd think there'd be more lump here, and it's so evenly coated. I just don't see how that would happen like in a real world, as they say. See, but they said it was found sintered to the wall. It was literally stuck on the wall, so it wasn't like laying on the ground. That's the weird thing. I mean, have you ever even heard of them finding, so somebody goes in a cave and boom, onto the wall, stuck on there with sinter, which I don't even get what that even means exactly. Sinter, held by sinter, and then it says, well, what's sinter is, sintering or frottage is the process of compacting and forming a solid mass of material by pressure or heat without melting it to the point of liquefaction. So pressure or heat, that's not going to be calcite splattering around then. And even if it was, I mean, something has to stick it to the wall before the calcite flops over it. Let me see if I can find any other explanation of this thing besides the wiki. Okay, same image. Was found stuck to the wall of Petrolona Cave. How is it even stuck on there? I don't even... if I took a big heavy object and then I took some like clay or glue and then tried to like smoosh it onto the wall, it doesn't stick that well. I mean, embedded in a wall. Okay, it said sintered before. Now what is it? Maybe it keeps shifting and that's why it doesn't make sense. A reconstruction. Okay, maybe it is a reconstruction. A reconstruction of the way the Petrolona individual may have been buried. Okay, we didn't find this, though, to my knowledge. And I would not be shocked if this image is actually just this. Let's see. Does it look similar? It kind of does, because it's sort of like orangey right there. So, okay. So I'm thinking this might be that it is not in its original situ. Stalagmite. Protruding unicorn like from its head. Maybe they weren't smart enough to make the stalagmite pointing up properly. The method of preservation has protected the cranium for what seemed to be many millennia. All right, that's a little bit a cast of the Petrolona skull. Why is it all smooth up in here? It's almost like it has skin and like it's a bald-headed dude because it's like so smooth. Okay, they're talking about how they dated it. The skull bears striking resemblance to a skull found in a cave in Kabwe, Zambia. Never heard of that one either. No one's explained to me how it's stuck on the wall. I don't get it. I also, frankly, that story I just read about them saying that it's buried like this. So what, you yanked off its head and you stuck the head on the wall and then left the body down here? I mean, how does that make... Who would bury it like that? I don't... They don't have the rest of the body, so it's just an absolutely wild guess. Sometimes called the Petrolona Man. It's almost certainly male. Discovered attached to the wall in northern Greece. Okay, I don't know. I don't even know how it's stuck on there then. Dating research suggests the calcite grew quite rapidly in the cave. Probably didn't take long for the skull to acquire its first layer of calcite. Yep, nothing. All right, well, anyway, I just think it's pretty darn weird because I have absolutely... You would remember if you saw a skull with like a horn thingy sticking out. Even if later you found out that that was just a stalagmite, I just know. See, they just make up stuff and everyone accepts it. Yeah, I know, but then like tomorrow they never made it up. They'd always made up something else. So, yeah, you know, it's definitely true that when I was younger, I would go, that doesn't really make sense. But they're the experts. They must know what they're talking about. Well, now I'm like, no. I don't know. Like, we gotta get more... I don't know if maybe the Mandela hasn't figured out how it's going to say it's stuck to the wall. Because if it's sinter is like somehow man-made, somewhat melted, but not totally melted stuff is used to stick it on. And I'd be really curious what that stuff would be. Because as I said, it is not that easy to just blop something on the wall and then stick a giant heavy thing on it and have it stay there. Even when water is full of calcite is ooping around the whole skull and everything, and it still didn't fall off. I mean, even E6000 glue and cool stuff that we have now would be challenged to do that, to have it stay up there year after year in soggy conditions like that. Because unless it's changed, the way that you get a coating of calcite is that water drips down over it, and the water has very small molecules of calcite that deposit as it flows, which when you really think about it also kind of sounds ridiculous, but that is the story. So it would have to be stuck on the wall with a bunch of water flowing over it. A gajillion tons of water have to flow over in order to make it like a thin deposit of calcite. So how is it still stuck on there? And they're saying that 300,000 years later, it was still stuck on the wall. Yeah, I want to know what glue that was, or cinder. No, it's not cinder, it's sinter. They're calling it SINTER. That's what the wiki called it. But then they didn't really describe like what was in the cinder, which is highly suspicious. And none of the other sites are saying how it's stuck on there. Because like I said, it had to be stuck on there with other means besides calcite, according to the current official science. I mean, they could even nail it in or something, but... Yeah, why would anybody stick a skull to a wall anyway? I know. So in this timeline, though, there are caves with a bunch of creepy skulls. So I guess I could see a human doing it, but where's the rest of it? Maybe they didn't have the rest of it. You know, maybe they defeated that guy in battle or something, and then they just nailed his skull to the wall or something. Let's see. Yeah, I think I saw Jackie had she made another post like this, and it was like later, and I didn't get to it. Let's see. And it's this one. Incredible Denisovan skull. Now, I just did not. I was thinking, I should check that one real quick, but I didn't have time. Ancient skull has finally shown what Denisovans look like. They look like Neanderthals. Does that look like fake? Does that not look like fake? It looks like somebody went to McDonald Land or something with that. That totally... You know, when I used to look at skulls, they had like a lot of... I don't know how to describe it. There was sculpting and stuff. You know, it looked very real. It didn't look... This looks like a kindergartner made these brow ridges. Asia was once home to a previously unknown group of enigmatic ancient humans. We know them as Denisovans. Okay, that's been around for a few years, probably a long time now. I did not have Denisovans. When did they first discover the Denisovans in the current timeline? Denisovans wiki. I bet you it goes way back. Let's see. First, 2010. Okay. That actually may not be back in time. It's credible according to my memories. We had no idea what they look like. Now we have a full skull, or kind of full skull. Carries Denisovan DNA. In the ancient gonk attached to the surface of a tooth. You didn't dig into the tooth? Why would the DNA still be there on the outside of the tooth? You know, it used to be that we couldn't really check stuff like gonk on the outside of a tooth so easily. Not for DNA. Their faces were similar to ours, but they had thick brow ridges and lacked our tall foreheads. I think that we also used to lack our tall foreheads until recently. And I mean 10 years ago recently. We can expect a new name for this extinct hominin. Hominin. It's not a I don't know. Hominin. At least 2 pivotal proposals. Why are we changing the name? They are more closely related to living people than any other ancient human, potentially ousting Neanderthals. Okay. That one required payment, and I'm not paying. It matters. Alright, so what do they look like then? Let me see it. When was that one? It came out and they're like, this is what they look like in it. They look like that guy from Star Trek, that old guy. All right, let me see what they look like. Dragon Man. I don't think that's it. Dragon Man, is that Denisovan or is it something else? Linked to a group of early humans called... Okay, who... So is that the look? I think it is. So they look like this. So they look just like humans, except for you just have to put some clay on your eyebrows, apparently. I don't know why that just looks so fake. I mean, they're doing the body like humans. It just looks like a thick-bodied human. Okay, whatever. I don't know. I just can't get over it. They look so fake. I'm sorry. That is just not. Don't forget about the cone heads. If we, I think we already have those, right? We have those. They said that they were rap skulls, but I wouldn't be surprised if those turned out to be an ancient hominid race. It's a homeless guy in Cleveland. Yep, that's it. Some homeless guy in Cleveland will be found to be half Denisovan. I wonder if eventually they'll come up with, oh, these are the old hominids, and they'll look like our old skulls. Because I swear our old skulls didn't have so much stuff up here, and it was, I think it was more, a little bit wider and a little bit less height per wide. What is it, the other, like some years ago, I looked in my car window, and just the way the window had a little bit of curve, and it just made my face squinch down a little. It mutated the image just a tad, and that face looked right. Like that should be me more than this me. Like when I saw that, I'm like, this is the correct me. And it actually startled me because I was like, that's how I'm supposed to look. But we've been going the opposite. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Fossils, stick them in a display case, make up a story. You know, I probably, if I didn't know about the Mandela, I probably would totally go with that, because in recent years, I've seen so many images from so many museums that I know are fake, but they claim they're real. Like there was some in the UK that they said this is petrified wood, and I guess the UK doesn't have much, if any, petrified wood. Now, petrified wood's been a storyline here since I was a kid, but I've also collected a ton of petrified wood. I've gone to some of the top shows in the world over here in Arizona. They have it every year, and I've seen samples of it. I've gone to where they dig it up. I've helped dig it up. I mean, like, there's trees and trees of it up in some places, in some states, right? Like the national forest, the petrified national forest. And there's no way that stuff that I saw somebody take images of, they said this looks fake, and I'm like, it is fake. It was clearly just some kind of mud clay stuff they made. It was not petrified wood. And not only did it look totally fake, but somehow magically they have a whole tree of it, like, there, and that just never happens. You never get a whole tree of it out, because the stone just breaks up. I've never even seen a section longer, maybe this long, before there's a break. So you can get a lot of sections and they line up and all look, you can see the trunk of the tree, but they're never solidly through. The stone just doesn't make it. And that thing was like 15 feet tall without a single break, and it was totally fake. It was 100%. And they're saying this is real petrified wood. It is not. I'm like, they didn't even try to make it look real. It's ridiculous. That never used to happen. Like 20 years ago, I never saw, if they faked it, they just say, this is a recreation, this is a reproduction. They wouldn't say it was real. Yeah, it's scared wood. It turned to stone. It saw Medusa. Everything was normal till 2023. Not for us, man. I don't know. For me, it was like about 2012, I would say, was when it really ramped up with the weird. and then it really started to kick in around 2014. But I didn't know what was going on at first. I just like, why does it keep changing the names of stuff? And I swear I thought it was this. How could it be that? And then I finally learned about the Mandela. I'm like, oh, I learned Arctica was gone. Okay, this bizarre one, and this was another Jackie one. Let's see. Did I even? Oh, yes. This is Easy Cheesy 181. Easy Cheesy found it. All right. Good find, Easy Cheesy. This is one of the ones easy. So apparently, in the 19th century, there was a strange episodes of exploding teeth. The exploding teeth epidemic of the 19th century, which the 19th century is the 1800s. It is like the weirdest story because I can't figure it out. So, like, even if there was like some kind of weird rot or something inside a tooth, I just don't see how you could build up enough pressure to have the whole tooth like explode, like it sounded like a shot went off, that kind of thing. So here's a story, like here's one of the stories. So it starts with a toothache. The toothache gets really bad. And then then finally it like explodes out, like pieces of teeth fly apart. So here's one story. It burst with a concussion and a report that well-nigh knocked her over, splitting the tooth directly from the lingual to the buccal surface. I don't know what that means. And very much shattering the organ, the tooth. At the same time, having a horrid sensation traversing the eustachian tubes. Okay, that's the tubes from the upper palate that lead back to the ear and help maintain pressure on the back of the eardrum. So, I guess it could vibrate up the eustachian tubes if there was a loud sound and impact the eardrums. So it was so bad with the eustachian tubes that it rendered her quite deaf for a considerable length of time. So that's a really loud noise if you turn deaf for a while. The whole thing did not occupy but a moment, so the explosion was really quick. And the tooth ceased aching at once. That's the other thing, is it hurts really, really bad, and then the tooth explodes, and then all the pain is gone. Like all of it. It's all gone. Which I don't understand, because all the stories are like that. But if you have like some kind of infection or something, it's not going to stop hurting like after the tooth explodes, because there's still going to be an infection in there. And like the tooth is live, right? So shouldn't you have like open nerves or something after the tooth explodes? Shouldn't it still be like sore? But no, they say it stops hurting afterwards. And then like there's this loud noise. So like, what could build up inside a tooth that once the tooth exploded, there'd be no pain? So apparently it's not in the gum, it's just in the tooth. And it explodes, but then how come the nerve doesn't hurt after the explosion? And like, how could anything build up to that pressure that it would explode the tooth anyways? But it would have to be contained in the tooth, because if it was that level of pressure outside the tooth, then it would just explode out the flesh or something, you know? So, like, there's no explanation for this. They're trying, but they're like, oh, maybe they use something weird in their dental amalgams or something. But there's no story that these are even dental amalgams, because they say they're teeth. It's not like a capped amalgam. Someone's saying maybe it's gas buildup in teeth. They're saying with a decaying tooth, gas buildup in teeth can happen through an incomplete root canal. This would not cause enough pressure to make people's teeth explode. Because if that happens now and nobody's teeth explode. So they say in 1920 they stopped exploding. But nobody knows why. I'm like, this whole thing is just insane. I don't know if we're going to get a better explanation. One of them saying, well, maybe it's some kind of mixed metals used inside the mouth. But again, there's not a report that these teeth have been capped or anything. So I don't know. If it was always like caps or something, then that should be part of the story. But yet, no. No documented cases since the 1920s. Even the 1920s wasn't that long ago. I mean, there's people alive now that should remember the exploding teeth. But so the 1800s to the early 1900s. And I mean, it's not like we all have good tooth care now. I mean, there's plenty of countries that don't have good tooth care, and there's poor people. So what the heck, people? Sugar ruins all teeth, but it doesn't cause them to explode. So they should still be exploding teeth in like poor countries then. There's a lot of countries where they don't do any tooth care. Like a lot of people that in the Philippines don't have the money for it. Toothaches are from the pressure, but they're like in your jaw, not in your actual tooth. And if it was going to explode, it should go out the fleshy part, which is way weaker than the tooth. Anyway, there's no decent explanation. I've kind of noticed this before, like, there's some weird story, and then they'll come, okay, well, the scientific explanation, and then they'll say something that makes, like, no sense. Like, I saw a ghost ship with screaming people, and they'll go, oh, it was swamp gas. It's like, what? You know, but it had, you know, I mean, I'm sorry, but just storyline just don't make any sense. A spaceship landed and little green men came out. Oh, it was the moon. No, you know, a hallucination is a better explanation than the moon, but just admit you don't know if you don't know. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, I can't keep up with all of it, so. Narwhals look more Muppety. Okay, we'll have to check out narwhals. Hold on. Narwhals. We haven't looked at narwhals in a long time. That was like one of the first big mandanimals for a lot of people. Let's see. They were the only toothed whale back then, too. Now there's a million toothed whales. One of two living representatives of the family Monodontidae. What's the other one? Let me see what the other one looks like. Oh, the other one is the beluga that got really weird looking. Okay, interesting. (4 to 9'10" long tusk, which is protruding left canine. (170,000 living narwhals. I'm pretty sure that's a lot more than before. And the species is listed as being of least concern. Oh, ho, ho. When I first heard of these were endangered. Now they're least concern. Okay. Threatened by climate change. Yeah, they were like in severe risk of extinction when I first heard of them. When did I first heard of them? Maybe around 2014 or something. I heard about them a tad before I knew about the Mandela, but then once I understood how the Mandela works, I'm like, that is one of them. Alright. There's not a lot of images of them. Those look dorky. Alright. That I don't think is meant to be realistic, is it? You know, come to think of it, I never really did get a really good images of these things. One thing I noticed is I don't remember the tooth having that much of a ropey look to it. Now here they don't look ropey, so Some of these might be AI. Is that AI? Because here it looks really straight, and here they look really ropey. Which one is it? I think the ropey ones are the legit ones. This AI business is definitely causing trouble. Yeah, there seems like there's a lot of them now. You know what? I don't remember them being all whitish. Wait, how come there's... Okay, those I think is the fake one. All right, that's got like pink on them. Dang, I don't remember them being all whitish. That one's real speckled. Yeah, you know what? It looks like they got... That's not a real image. Ugh, come on. Is that a real image? 4 narwhals swimming between icebergs. You can't tell anymore. I think this one's legit. Seriously, there aren't very many good pictures. If there's 170,000 of the freaking things, this has to be fake. There's no way this is real. That has to be AI. All right, let's see. You know what? I'm not sure. One thing I'm sure is I don't remember them being speckly and white like that. They were just boring gray. I feel like the horn part is maybe coming out in a little bit lower position. I thought it was more like, okay, here. I thought it was more like up there, and now it's more like a nose now. Before it looked like a horn on the head, but now it looks like a nose. So I'm looking at it now, I'm going, it's got a giant fat nose. Yeah, that is definitely what changed for me. What? No, okay, narwhal females. You know, I don't remember the females. I thought they all had the tooth. Are they saying only the male has it? I don't remember there being any without the tooth. Males have the large, long tusk. Huh. Yeah, I don't remember there being any tuskless ones. Okay, so they're up here where Arctica used to be, I think. Isn't this, Wait, where is this? Actually, I'm not even sure. Distribution map. Maybe that's Antarctica. Is it? No, I don't even know where... Wait. Okay, wait. Yeah, this is Arctica, so they're in here. You know, I was thinking that this is the land and this is the water, but no, it's the reverse. Okay, so yeah. This is the top of Russia right there, so this would be Arctica. This is where Arctica used to be. It's kind of weird, they're just like in this blob, but there's none there. What, you never heard of narwhals? Or is it something else you're talking about? Oh, petrified forest? Oh, you never heard of that one. Actually, I didn't know about that Greece one either, about it changing to a car. Most have only... I think I did hear about that two-tusk one. Like, there was a couple. Narwhals with two tusks. Like, there was a report of seeing one, but we didn't have an image of it. Rare, almost single tusk. 1 in 500 males may grow 2 tusks. When the right side also erupts. With only 1 female ever recorded to have grown 2 tusks. Well, I thought females didn't have tusks. Well, this is the AI. You can't trust this one. Narwhals. Female with tusk. Can possess a tusk, although it's much less common. 15% of females develop a tusk, which is usually smaller. Okay, that's definitely a different storyline than before. Okay, 2 tusk narwhal. Narwhal, 2 tusks. I wonder if there's even an image of these things. If any creature turns out to be made up, it would be this one. Like, if it was totally fake. Because there are not any decent photos of these. And the few that there are just... Like, it would be so easy to fake that now. See this white stuff? I just don't remember what is even up with that. Look, they're all speckly. They were not all speckly. They look like... Oh my god, they look like granite countertops now. This is a load of bull. Alright, there's a 2-tusker. I don't know why, I just want to laugh. And there's another one. Looks like the ropey stuff is legit then. Wait, what is that? Walrus, that's a different thing. You'd think there'd be at least one image of a 2-tusker. If 1 in 500 males, it's not, then if you saw 500 of these, then you should see 1 with a double tusk. Alright, so can you buy these yet? Ah, now they are legally killed for food each year by the Inuit. There was no way that was the case. The narwhal hunt offers a strong bonding experience for members of the community, and the sale of the tusks benefits the hunters. Oh, so you can buy them now. Check that out. That's crazy. We took all the tusks and arranged them by size. Ah, won't be long before we could get them. I don't remember it being narwhals. But somehow it does look a little familiar, so I'm pretty sure it was narwhals, though. Like, I remember them saying it came from narwhal, the word whale, but that it wasn't anymore. For me personally, anyways. Before the Emmy, it may have heard of it being an extinct prehistoric creature. I had freaking never heard of that thing. It's absolutely crazy. Till it showed up. And, you know, I'm kind of involved in, like, the sale of teeth and tusks and stuff. So I'm kind of familiar with stuff. So when I first saw those, I'm like, how did I not know about these? It's just craziness. And I love watching shows of weird animals back in the day. You know, before there was the internet, there wasn't much to do besides watch TV. All right, speaking of the weird beasts. Okay, this one was found by both Shelby Norwood 1760 and also by Jackie. And this is a shark, in case you're wondering. Apparently there's this bright orange shark was found. And of course it's bright orange. It's not just a little bit orange. We have to go for the crazy orange. And so they're saying it's a normal nurse shark, except that it has xanthism. I have a feeling we're going to hear more of this word xanthism. Xanthism is when just the dark pigments in the animal fail to express. So then all the hidden colors that were under the dark pigments suddenly show. So apparently underneath the gray of a nurse shark exists a whole crap load of orange pigments, which I find very suspicious. But xanthism is caused by pigments in the skin when it has a loss of darker pigments, meaning that a yellow or orange color comes through more strongly. So they're not saying that this has more orange pigment. They're just saying that the darker pigments were removed, which would reveal the orange pigment. The shark is even more unique because it also has white eyes, which researchers say could mean it also has albinism. See, like in my old timeline, albinism just meant there was no color. Like you wouldn't be orange and be albino because there'd be no pigment in your body. So then they were saying for a while that this partial albino thing was leucism. So how could it be like albinism, but it still have pigment? Let me just look up what the definition of albinism wiki. All right, here it's saying congenital absence of melanin, varied use and interpretation. You know what? It could be that they're going to say there's different kinds of like pigments other than melanin. So then if you don't have melanin, but you have one of the other pigments. Albinism can reduce the survivability of an animal. Yeah. Prevents the synthesis of euromelanin or pheomelanin, resulting in reduced pigmentation. No, that was not the definition. They were white creatures because they had no pigmentation, and that's why their eyes were always red, because there was no pigmentation in the eyes either. And that was just like the blood that's in the eye would come through and you would see it as red in the skin. Albinism is characterized by partial or complete loss of chlorophyll pigments. That's for plants. Albino plants. What the hell? How can you have an albino plant and you don't have chlorophyll? Well, we've had that on before. So I think they're playing loose and fast with this term albinism now. It can mean whatever is convenient at the time, apparently. It has white. If it has white eyes, I mean, albinos have red eyes. Why would it have white eyes? Ugh, none of these articles make any sense anymore. In this timeline, I've seen a pink dolphin swimming with the traditional gray dolphins in the Caribbean. Well, they now have those pink river dolphins. They're in fresh water and they swim in, where was that? South America, I think. Pink river dolphins. Look those up. Those are crazy. The real concern is waking up in different realities every day. Yeah, it's like I don't worry about it nearly as much because of the Mandela, though, because it's like whatever they're saying could happen. I mean, like, all of the facts of that could just magically disappear tomorrow. Like now the places that got nuked can, like, the radiation goes away after a decade or two and they just build on it. Dolphins are not freshwater in the Caribbean. So where is that? They are freshwater. Let's see, pink. Let's see, does Caribbean river, do you even have river dolphins? Let's see, Caribbean river dolphins. Let me see if you have any. Okay, yeah, they have freshwater species in Amazon and Orinoco. The Amazon river dolphin, known as the boto. Also, they have the sushi, found in the freshwater systems of the Amazon, distinct from the Guyana, which is a coastal species. Let's see. Where was pink river dolphin again? Pink. I thought that was Amazon too. Yeah, Amazon river dolphin, commonly known as the pink river dolphin or boto. Yes, that is the same one. Native to Amazon. So those just live in the rivers of the Amazon in this timeline, and they're pink. See, pink. And now they're speckled. And look at the mouth. They've got a bunch of teeth, and it looks faker than everything. Wait, I don't think this one is... I think that might be an AI there. This AI business is really causing problems. This, however, is in fact what they look like. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Interesting, because they used to be like... They didn't have these black splooges on them when I first learned about them. Now they look even more ridiculous. So last time I checked, they said that they would have like dark speckles. Why does that one look like it's on fire underwater there? It's weird. Very orange waters. So yeah, you guys got that. See, I'm pretty sure that one's fake there. But this is the color. They're not the most aggressive creatures either, as you can see. Because even the wild ones, people swim with them and stuff. This is interesting. This big head bump, I think that's kind of a newer deal. Man, see, look at all the AI. That's AI, that's AI. Pretty sure that one is. I'm pretty sure that one is. That one is for sure's. That almost for sure's. There we go. Craziness. Oh yeah, Shari's not here. You're right. Going camping. That sounds like fun. Just to taste the orange shark. Maybe it tastes like orange juice. I wouldn't even be surprised if they go, if they started saying, well, orange sharks have blah blah xanthana man in it, and that's the same pigment in oranges that give that orange taste. And then the cocaine-nosed dolphin lives in USA cities. Yeah, don't give them any ideas. We're going to end up with one. Well, with like a powdery nose or something. Yeah, no, those are pink river dolphin. That's the name of them. And they're freshwater. I don't think they're albinos because they don't have the red eyes. Yeah, see, they have black eyes. That's just their color. They're all that color. They're pink, and then some have a little bit of brown or gray or whatever the heck that is. I think last I checked, they would get like more of one of the colors over time. Yeah, see, okay, they got more pink over time. That baby is quite gray. Yep, they're all pink though. Craziness. I don't think they were originally in existence for me, but there you go. They've been around for, yeah, like 10 years-ish or something, though. Or more, maybe like 6-ish years. This is just weird, because, I remember a little talk a few years back where they were talking about making it a requirement to have a permit to take photos and video inside national parks in the United States. And it was just a proposal. And I'm like, this is horse hockey and F them. That's, public property. You're not hurting anything by taking images. And it's stupid. Like, I hate that. The whole idea that even the image of it, then you're going to charge just it's my camera and everything. I already paid for that. I shouldn't have to pay some government entity to take an image of public lands. Okay, well, apparently Australia went ahead and did this. And it's been around a long time. But for some reason, just now, they decided to actually enforce it. So you can't take any images of Uluru without paying $20 or more. And somebody who even if you just put them up on your YouTube, even if it's just personal private account or something, and you're not making, it's not monetized, say, and you're not making any money, they can still sue you for taking a photo of Uluru. That's the story now. So I mean, to say, what if you just grab an image off of the internet and you didn't take it? Now who's in charge? Did you have to pay I don't know. But apparently they've been coming after people now. And somebody who visited Uluru got in, all this trouble recently for having these images. And so she tried to remove a bunch of them, but they still said that wasn't good enough. And it's not just Uluru, okay? So the Uluru story is they're saying, oh, well, that's the sacred site of the indigenous people. I'm like, well, if you're indigenous, I think you still have to pay the money. So are they giving the money to the indigenous people? No, I don't think they are. As far as I can tell, they're not giving any of that money to the indigenous person. So saying this is on behalf of the indigenous people sounds like a big load of hooey then, because I just don't see where they're getting anything out of it. They or even agreed to it. And I've certainly never heard of any storyline that photos of the place were considered not good. That is not a real common storyline. At least it didn't used to be, that you can't even take a picture of our stuff, But now the story is since 2000, which I have never heard of this. It's been here since 2000, but now they're just now 25 years later deciding to enforce this. The law has been, a person must not use a captured image of a Commonwealth reserve to derive commercial gain. For sub-regulation, captured images include an image that was not captured for a commercial purpose or in contravention of the act or these regulations, which I don't really understand, but basically it says you can't use a captured image of a Commonwealth reserve. What do you mean you can't use? Nobody... So then they're saying, well, you can, but you have to pay this fee. And it ranges between $20 and $400 or more, depending on what you're using it for and if you take just photos or video. And then sub-regulation, captured images for anything that, even if it's not a commercial purpose. So even if you're just saying, look, I got this, look at, here's a picture of my trip to Australia. Oh no, you have to pay a fee for that. And I'm like, Australia, oh my God, when are you guys gonna say no to this crap? So if you're going camping, Jackie, I guess you better figure out if it's a Commonwealth reserve, and if it is, don't post it online. With what the prevention of image capture has to do with environmental protection is beyond my understanding. Okay, this person is complaining too. I can certainly understand that. So this was back in 2009, but apparently now there's this like huge wave of so 2009 they were still proposing to enforce it, but supposedly now anyone wanting to shoot content in Uluru Kata National Park needs to pay a photo permit, which costs $20 a day for commercial photography or $250 a day for filming. So the other thing I don't get is like, so this woman puts up some video or whatever images, and like, how do they know that she didn't pay the $20 a day? I mean, like, when I put up my YouTube, you guys don't know what my name is. And so how would, like, Australia know if I paid the money? So that's the other weird thing. Do I have to, like, find my receipt and say, okay, you know, on this is the date I went, and look for my name? Because what if I don't remember the exact date I went? Because I went 3 years ago and I forgot what day it was. I mean, like, how are you even enforce this? It's just beginning to, I love how they're saying Aboriginals are charging it, because from what I can tell, it's the government that's doing it. It's a sacred stance. It's so sacred, and photos are not nice, and they break the sacred rule, except if you pay $20, then it's okay. I mean, like, I don't buy it. Either it is an affront to Uluru or it's not an affront to Uluru. And you also have to pay your $38 park entry pass per adult. Then you got to pay to have a photo of the thing. I mean, like, I guess I could see it if you wanted to set up a whole photo shoot with, like, cameras and start filming, like, a whole big commercial thing there. But this, even if you just have, like, your own camera on your neck and you shoot a couple snaps and put them up, you're in trouble. Oh, it sounds like technically field of light. I don't know what this is. They are able to make a field of light, but you can't take a photo of it. That's rude. It sounds like technically this applies to everywhere. That's what's weird. When in doubt, put the camera away. Significant parts of the rock have been declared off limits to photography. Fines of $5,000. I don't know. This is just craziness. So we won't be able to take photos for 10 years, and then suddenly they were going to find out that there's a whole bunch more Uluru back there. Like, oh, there's 3 more rocks worth of Uluru. Actually, now that I'm looking at it, is that even the original shape? Uluru. Frankly, actually, now that I'm looking at it, that's the back of Uluru? I thought it was like higher and more, I don't know, more bread loaf shaped and less melted ice cream. I actually, now that I'm really thinking about it, this is not how I remember it. Maybe it got like wider. And I've certainly never seen like this angle of it. I think it might have actually already gotten bigger. Nobody's allowed to take images while it's busy Mandela growing. Oh, interesting. Okay, well... that is a little closer to what I remember, but... have I looked at the 20-plumed moth? I don't think I have. Is a micro moth. It does not have 20 plumes. Each wing is divided into 6 distinct plumes. Okay, I think I get it. It looks like it has sticks with furries on it or something instead of individual. Oh, that's pretty cool, actually. Instead of a whole wing, it has 14 to 16 millimeters. So what? That's like this big. Feathery wings. Okay, so I think each one of these is a wing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I see 10 wings on there, though. There's 10 on that side, then there'd be 10 on that side. It has 6 plumes, as the scientific name meaning 6 fingers. It has... why does this image show 10 then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's like 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This front one does have fuzzes on it, so I think that counts. Now, I guess you could say maybe that one's not a full wing because it doesn't have fuzz on both sides, but then it would be 10 each side. But here it's saying no, it's only got... its scientific name means 6-finger, hexadactyla. Maybe that's the feet. Yeah, you see, you can't trust anything. Everything is such trash now. Okay, Elucida hexadactyl. Let's see what the wiki has to say here. All right, this one is repeating what that first image said. Unlike a typical moth, it has 2 pairs of scaly wings. Lucida has about 20 thin, feathery plumes. About 20. Thin, feathery plumes with scales on the supporting ribs. It perches with the wings outspread like a fan. Okay, so that other one was wrong. This one agrees that it's got about 20. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think there's an... is there another one in there? No. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11 on there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, 9, 10, 11. All right. So, yes, it has about 10, which is sort of like 11. Comes from the Greek for 6-fingered. Why does it come from the Greek for 6-fingered? Does it have 6 legs? It doesn't say why it comes from the term six-fingered. That is actually really cool, though. So, 20 plume moth. I'm going to put that on there. I suspect we'll get more stuff like that. I am not sure if such a thing would have operated in the old timeline with the old atmosphere. It's easier to get things to become aloft here, I think. Oh yeah, you're right. It was an empty wasteland, wasn't it? Uluru. Wait a minute. I guess some could have grown up, but still. Let's see. Oh yeah, look at all the... Yeah, you know, I thought it was... You're right. There wasn't a bunch of plants and stuff. Yes, very good observation. You are 100% right. So, all the images... Oh, this is interesting. I don't think it had... It's almost like it's... Maybe that's why they have to ban you going to it, because the fingers are like, look at it. It's like stretching out like a beast. Look at it. It is. It's stretching out like a beast. It looks like a beast. Look at it. It's creepy. It wasn't like that. No. Okay, so... Yeah, okay. So there's plants everywhere now. You're right. That was a wasteland before. I don't even know if this is a fake image, or is it? Uluru dans Centre Rouge. I think this is an AI here, but it's hard to tell. Look at all the plants. Dang, look. Crazy. You're right. It was a total wasteland before. All the images showed it like that. I think that's fake. It's hard to tell. Man, freaking AI. Oh, look at that. There's like no images of it being a wasteland now. That's actually on it. You know, like, the other thing weird about this banning photography, like... There's a billion images of it. It's not like they're going away. And there still always will be a billion images of it, as long as you can pay $20 and take images of it. It's just a money grab. Ugh, what is that? That is weird. Didn't have those, like, pokey holes in it before. I guess maybe they will not appreciate it if you are like, ew, what is that? Alright, here's more images of pokey holes. Pokey holes. Alright. Is that AI, or is really those holes are in it? Okay. Ooh, looks like it might be there for real. Yeah, I think it's just changing. Why is it all like, I don't know. Yeah, good find though. You're right. It was a wasteland. It was a total wasteland. I mean, I've never visited it, but I've seen a million images of it. All right, so when you went there, Robinsk, did it have plants around it? Yeah, there was never any talk of Aboriginals complaining about photos. The whole thing is a load. Like, the first I'd ever even heard of that was they used to say that the Native Americans in the United States would say that taking a photo is like stealing their soul. But then they would charge you $10 or $5 or whatever. Then you could take a picture. I'm like, if you really thought that that guy was stealing your soul, then I don't think you're going to sell your soul for a couple dollars. So, and that was the thing, is that they would say, well, most people think this is just a grift that the natives are using to get money off of you. It's like, oh, you want a photo? Give me $1. It wasn't like a legitimate thing. And again, if you really thought that, there's no way you'd sell it off. Yeah, see, Vivian, I don't see any evidence that Aboriginals are getting 1 cent out of this. I mean, I could be wrong, but I can't see any image of any such thing. They're using it as a grift. They're trying to guilt you into paying the money. Oh, somebody's freaking out because you can see Mars. Yeah, you couldn't, for me, you could not see any of the planets with your naked eye in the sky at any time ever when I was growing up. Now I think, last I checked, you can see 5 of them at different times. Mars, Venus. Venus is even brighter than Mars. And several of the others are also visible. All right. Jackie agrees on the shape and more trees. I don't remember, like, who was it that just said it was a wasteland? Yeah, I don't remember there being, like, anything. It was just, like, out in the sand. Dude at the bar was talking for 3 hours about seeing Mars. Yeah, well, that's how I felt the first time I saw the moon in the daytime. It's like, I couldn't stop thinking about it. Vivian's going to bed. Thanks for coming by. Okay, you remember small prickly shrubs. All right. I have looked at Uluru for the Mandela, and I remember thinking the shape was a little different, but not like this. And I'm pretty sure it was still a wasteland back then, but that was some time ago. Remember when we thought humans were going to get 6 fingers after the hand anatomy changes? But some humans do have 6 fingers. It's not that unusual now. Well, it's still unusual, but not like it was. Let's see. How many humans are born with 6 fingers? I bet you over time it'll become more and more common. 1 in every 500 to 1,000 babies is born with 6 fingers on one hand, making polydactyly a relatively common congenital hand abnormality. And most commonly an extra digit on the little finger side being the most common. All right. Well, so yes, and I think over time you'll see that it changes to more and more common. Ah, see, Angels Don't Fall has a 6th finger. Who was it? The other person that used to be on here, a Mandela Affected, that old channel. He said that some of his kids had 6 fingers. Or toes or something. There was a few that had them. It was still weird for me because way back it was just like every now and then a little piece of flesh would grow, but they weren't like functional fingers or anything. They would just snip them off because there was nothing to them. They weren't fully formed, attached to the skeletal structure and all that. So okay, so apparently we've also had this big nuclear disaster that nobody ever talks about. So the minute I saw that, it's like the nuclear disaster that nobody ever talks about. I'm like, that has Mandela written all over it. So I looked it up, and this isn't the original video, but the original video didn't give much details. But apparently in 1957, there was a nuclear disaster that spewed more radiation than Chernobyl into the air, and 22 villages had to be evacuated. 10,000 people were evacuated. But I guess there wasn't that many people living around there as maybe there was for Chernobyl. And then there's always the question of, did they evacuate all the people they really should have? So now they're kind of like apparently ranking the nuclear accidents according to number of people evacuated, which is a weird way to rank them, because shouldn't you just rank by amount of radiation that has been like released? Because apparently this one beats Chernobyl is what they were saying if you rank that way, but Chernobyl had more evacuations, but maybe they just did a better job of evacuating back then. So now the story then is in 57 there was a production plant that had like some kind of explosion, and then tons of radiation was leaking, and then they tried to cover it up, blah blah. So now this is the third worst disaster. I am quite positive myself that first there was Chernobyl, and then later in America we had 3 Mile Island, and there wasn't that many evacuations there, but that was considered the next worst disaster. Like, it almost became a Chernobyl, and it was the next worst disaster, all the way up until the Fukushima thing, which was caused by the tsunami. So then the Fukushima thing came, but then it was 3 Mile Island was the third one. But now we have this thing, and apparently there were even other ones. The disaster spread hot particles over 52,000 square kilometers, where at least 270,000 people live. Since Chelyabinsk 40, later renamed Chelyabinsk 65, was not marked on maps, the disaster was named after Kishtim, the nearest known town. So it was the Kishtim disaster. So now there's this whole story, oh, the Soviets lagged behind the U.S., and they were in a big hurry to catch up. There was an explosion in the Mayak plant. Was the size, and then there had been other such accidents. I should probably check into this. Notable military accidents involving nuclear material. An improperly stored underground tank of high-level liquid nuclear waste exploded, contaminating thousands of square kilometers of land. Now known as the Eastern Ural radioactive trace. The matter was covered up. But then they started talking about it in like the 80s. Well, no, I don't remember anything about any of that business. This is the amount of contamination. Stories of a catastrophic accident occurred in the press in 1958 and 59. See, like, for me, that when the Chernobyl thing hit, that was like the first big accident. They were always talking about, like, this shows how dangerous the nuclear stuff could be, blah, blah, blah. There was no talk about this huge thing that happened in 57, 58. So even if you want to say it was covered up some, but then it made it into the press and stuff. They should have been talking about it when Chernobyl hit. But they were not. Anybody heard of this thing? Oh, is that what it is? Okay, well. Okay, so yes, there's. Who put this one in? Let's see. Jackie noticed this more plants. I've been waiting for them to come up with either the timeline or something to come up with the glowing plants, because I would really love to plant them on my property because we don't have streetlights on my property. And it would be very nice to have plants that would just glow. I do have to wonder if like every bug in town would be hanging out on them all night like they do with regular lights. But so these guys were injected, so they weren't grown. But there's been a change in the storyline that I see for the natural. Okay. So they're trying to gene edit these to like edit in the glow in the dark stuff. Since that storyline came out, natural growing mushrooms that are not gene edited but are totally natural glow pretty good now, and they always have. You can even go onto Etsy and buy the spores and grow those yourself, which is actually pretty creepy. I should get Dave some. He likes to grow mushrooms. But and then the storyline I remember is they did try to come out with a glowing plant with gene edited tech, and they did like a GoFundMe for it, and they did get a lot of money from the GoFundMe, but they were never able to get the plant to glow very much. Like it was just so dim, and they just failed, and that was the fail. The story now, if you look back at it, the story is that it glowed pretty good, but there was like the plants were like contaminated and they were unsafe, and then wasn't really clear what the contamination was. But that's now the current reason for the fail. It wasn't the lack of glow. So that is a different kind of a story than this old time. Okay, so these ones, they're injecting them with some kind of strontium illuminate used in glow-in-the-dark toys. Now, I have said before that I think that the glow-in-the-dark toy stuff itself has really magically upgraded itself. It didn't used to glow nearly as well. In fact, I used to buy the spray and use it, and it would just glow for like 10 minutes if you charged it. But now it'll glow for like hours. And also, like, the solar works much better because my mother had bought these super cheap $2 solar lights for outdoors. So you stick them in the ground and they get charged by the sun, and then they glow after dark. The problem was that it would only glow for like 15 minutes, and by the time you got home 2 hours later, there was no light. And when she passed away, I didn't pull them up right away, but I was thinking about it. But yeah, they're not really, you don't really see them, and it wasn't high on the list of things to do, so it didn't get done. Well, what happened was, as the years went by, they worked better and better, and now they work great, and they glow for freaking hours. So the tech, I guess, went backward in time, because even my mother and I, we joked about it. I was like, I don't know, don't buy any more of those. They only last for 15 minutes. And she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna, And for some reason, we never threw them out. I guess she thought they were cool. So this stuff is like magically working better. Now, granted that the first thing I have to say is, so you can just inject this crap into plants and they won't like die on you? Well, apparently not. And then like, well, how long does it last for? So it says the plants maintain the ability to emit afterglow effect 25 days after treatment. Well, yeah, but when does it end? If 25 days it's still doing it, I mean, is it less? Continue to emit light, and then leaves will continue to emit the light even after wilting. So the strontium is still in there even if the leaf itself dies. Can pose harm to the plant tissue, but the scientists developed a chemical coating for the material that acts as a protective barrier. Other scientists are skeptical about practicality. It might be beyond what plants can bear. I don't really see them as street lights anytime soon. Well, I think we're getting there, and I'm eagerly awaiting. It's also interesting because it said that the other plants are already commercially available, but I could not find anything commercially available. So were they referring to the, let's see, what is this? See, this was posted 18 hours ago, but the GoFundMe thing died over 5 years ago. So where are these commercially available genetically engineered ones instead of the strontium ones? Can't find them. I want one, so that's why I went looking. Let me know if you find one that doesn't cost $1 million. See, if it's succulents and it's genetically engineered, then all the new leaves would have it in it. And succulents, man, you can just snap off a piece and grow it. So succulents would be amazing to have glow in the dark. Everybody would be pilfering fragments of your succulent at first, but other than that, it would be amazing. Rechargeable, meaning every time the sun comes up, it recharges the strontium. Anyway, I'm going to have to look into that a little bit more, but so cool. I want my plants. And succulents are pretty tough, and this is a dry climate, so it would be good for them. 6 fingers is not normal. Will go away like humans with web feet. No, I don't think so, because it's like zooming into the timeline. There's like more and more of them all the time. There's people with all kind of fingers, and they're totally functional now too, and didn't used to be. So I don't think it's going away. I think it's coming in, because there's more and more and more, and they're more and more functional. Now, when I was looking for the glow-in-the-darks, I found this, and I'm quite sure we did not have these. I used to kind of collect these. I was very much into the hobby of these. I didn't always buy all the ones that I knew about because they're a little bit hard to take care of, but I am quite positive that this thing was not there. Bulbine torta. This is crazy. So this is legit what it grows like. So it's going to be like, I've seen these before. There's like a bulb in the bottom, and then it's dormant half the year, and then these apparently grow during the active growing season. I've just never seen anything like this. I probably would have gotten it, frankly. This one doesn't even sound like it's that hard to grow. You just have to make sure it stays dry during the dormant season. So, yeah, I'm just like, oh, I might be almost, oh, look at that, 153 already, dang. Like 2-minute noodles. I don't think they'll taste as good, though. Anyway, I've only got like 6 minutes before it's time to cut out, so. $10 for a soul. Yeah, it's cheap. They must be able to regenerate their souls for every photo. How rude, you can't take it. Here's $10. All right, go ahead. How's that for a religion? All right, I'm going to go through some of these. I don't know if I covered this one, but I'm going to like bomb through a few of these. This is just a really extreme one of those weird shadow things in the sky now. What do you call that? This one shows some of the new like functionality on some of the fish. It's like, oh, that's not creepy at all. I'll make it bigger. Shows how they... It looks like something from The Simpsons or something. I don't know, the way they draw the characters. Oh, it's a sturgeon? Really? I guess it is a sturgeon. So there's a lot of weird fish that can do that stuff now, too. These giant salamanders in Ohio are getting like... First they just had these like in Japan, but now we're getting these giant mud puppy salamander. They're not kidding when they said puppies. It's getting big. Over 100 years old, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, they're getting effing big. Again, we have this image where you can't quite tell how long, and I think, you know, as the years pass, the actual length of these will get longer, and this photo will subtly alter itself. Because we've seen that before. Freaking cats keep changing. I know I've had these on before, but I swear every time I look at these ones with these weird ears, they just look more ridiculous and non-real. And it looks like those house gnomes from like Harry Potter or something. So I guess these are just, it's a certain breed of cat that has ears from the top of their head to their freaking neck. Totally normal. Crazy thunderstorm. Now, in the old days, that would be something out of, like, when hell is going to freeze over or something. That would be, like, there would be, like, Satan himself coming. You would see an image like that in a movie. But now, no, it's just a supercell. Just a supercell. It looks like it's real time, too, because I'm looking at this guy. He looks like he's moving normally. I mean, can you imagine that crap? I swear, I think if I saw it, it would just be... Look at that. And why is it all red inside? I guess the sun is setting back there, but still, come on, people. Ridiculous blue snake. It's like day glow. Okay, now we have this freaky red head and tail. I don't think I've seen one with... I've seen other ones with like special colors just on the head and tail that showed up a couple years ago, but none of them quite this much, so I thought I'd throw this one in. It's almost like it's glow in the dark. It's so blue. I don't think it is, but maybe snakes will be the first thing to glow in the dark. Okay, rhinos with the longest horn I've ever seen in my life. Rhino with its horn complete is rare. No, it wasn't. Now, it still has two instead of the original one that I remember all rhinos have. But the big one is now super ridiculously long. Another crazy... Wait, did they removed it? They might have removed it. Yes, they removed it. You can kind of see it there, though. More of the crazy sky shadows. I'm pretty sure that one's not AI. Sometimes it's hard to tell. All right, I'll do one more. Oh, this thing. I think I've had this on before, but it's a frog. Supposedly it has some illness, but still, I have a feeling that we're going to see more stuff like this. I mean, in my old reality, no way you could even have an illness and look like that and live, but apparently they could live. You know, I don't remember it having anything in its mouth last time I looked at this, too. Oh, so it's eating in this timeline. Interesting. I'm pretty sure I looked at this one enough times that it didn't have food in its mouth before. Like, what even is that? Anyway, so a few of them from a month ago. Videos are changing fast. Yeah, I know. I take a video and then I look a week later and it's like, wait, what is that doing in there? Okay, well, it is 2 o'clock. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I think everybody went to sleep except for Jackie almost. It's actually really quiet in here today. Anyway, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. You know the drill. Think good thoughts, everybody. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.